1992. I would like to show you one game which I played in the Olympiad. It was a game of the last round. I played against Kramnik Nunn, very famous English grandmaster. I must say that we already, before the last round, we already took the first place. So we were more than 4 points ahead of the other teams. So even if we lose 0-4, we would be first. And of course, it caused a serious celebration one day before from our team. And I remember that I was in pretty difficult shape while playing this game. I think we were celebrating till like 7 in the morning, and the game started around 1. So I was not in great shape, but still I think I played rather energetically and pretty well. So this is a position after 20th move. At that time it was a topic theoretical position in the line, and just a couple of months before this game there was another game, I think played by Shirov, who was black, against somebody, and he managed to make a draw rather easily in this line. So Kramnik Nunn, he decided to repeat this line, but I had an interesting novelty, interesting improvement in my mind, so I went in this position G4. I think before white played a little bit more standard passive rook d3, and after bishop c5 check, king went somewhere, I think to g3, and the game ended in a draw rather soon. I think black went something like a4, rook a5, and the d7 pawn became a weakness at some point, and I think it was a draw rather soon. So g4 is a very important resource. My idea is that I want to play g5 and to kick this knight on f6, to kick it out and to secure the protection of d7 pawn. And it's clear that white has to be pretty active in this position. Otherwise, black will start to attack the pawn pretty soon. So g4, which was at that time a novelty, h6, h4, a4. This is basically black's plan. He needs to try to play rook a5 to attack the bishop on b5, and then later the pawn on d7. Rook d3 now. Bishop b2. Okay, John, he's trying to put bishop on b2 and pawn on a3 to set the bishop there, and that it will not only be very stable, being protected by the pawn on a3, but also will protect the e5 pawn, which is becoming a target for white's pieces. Another possibility was to play bishop c5 check, but I don't think it was solving all problems. King g2, rook a5, rook b1, b6, g5, takes, knight h7, rook d5, knight takes g5, rook takes e5, knight e6, and let's say bishop c6. And of course black can fight here. The position is not lost yet, but the pawn on d7 is alive and it's very strong, and it's pretty clear that black will not manage to take this pawn. And probably white wants to push f4 and later f5 to kick the knight on e6, and white has definitely a very strong initiative, and definitely white is better here. So John, he decided to go bishop b2, g5. Okay, rook b1 doesn't make too much sense because of a3, so g5. I continue to play very energetically. hg, knight h7, f4. Again, not given a single minute for black to breath. Very energetic play, which was very, how to say, coherent to my state of mind at that time. You know, I was full of energy and I wanted to go ahead, to push ahead. And this game, it's a clear indication of my state. You know, I just only go ahead. So f4, rook a5. Okay, black's position is already pretty difficult. E takes f4 is definitely a logical choice, but then I start to protect g5 pawn with rook d5. Okay, my next move is simply knight takes f4, so f6 is the only reasonable way to create certain counterplay. And now white has a choice between two very interesting possibilities. I don't know which one is better. One is to play rook takes h7, king takes h7, gf6, bishop takes f6 and knight takes f4, followed by knight e6, and white will definitely get the exchange back, and the only question if he will manage to win this position or not. I don't know, but definitely there are chances for white. So this is one option. Another option is just to play knight takes f4, knight g5, and simply king e3, protecting the pawn on e4. Let's say king g7, rook g1, probably trying to play whether e5 or rook takes g5. White is also pretty much better here, because the d7 pawn is a bomb, you know, in this position, and black has problems, clearly. So Nunn, he played rook a5, rook d5, and now he went f6. Okay, the lesser evil was to play e takes f4, knight takes f4, knight f8. Of course, black's position is pretty set, but at least there was some fight, and maybe in a long run black could hope to save a game, because after f6 white wins almost by force. Rook takes h7, king takes h7, gf6, ef4, e5. Okay, the white's pawn chain looks pretty impressive, and it's clear that black's position simply now collapses. White wants to take on f4 and then to jump knight e6, and not only this, of course, simply there is nothing to do against this incredible pawn chain. So Nunn, he went king h6. Of course, okay, the attempt to play bishop takes e5, rook takes e5, rook takes d7, with the idea, okay, if bishop takes d7, then black has rook takes e5, and black is holding somehow, but the black's problem is that I have rook e7 check, and after rook takes e7, f takes e7, there is nothing you can do about e-pawn, and white wins. So king h6, knight takes f4. Okay, there is no defense anymore for black. Anyway, knight e6 is a threat, so he went bishop takes e5, rook takes e5, rook takes d7, but now the refutation of it is bishop takes d7, rook takes e5, and f7. And here black resigned in view of the variation king g7. There is no other move, and now let's say f8 queen, king takes f8, knight takes g6 check, king g7, knight takes e5, and white wins the game. I remember actually that I've spent like 40 minutes maybe for the whole game. So I chose this game to show you this game from Manila, just because I think it's, as I mentioned already, it really indicates very well my shape, my state of mind, and my style at that time, and this incredible amount of energy I had at that time. Maybe my understanding was still behind the top chess players on the world, but my energetical level was incredible, and I think that many of my opponents at that time simply was not able to keep up with this energetical play which I was showing in 1992 in Manila Olympiad. So now I would like to come to the middle of 90s, to these years when, let's say, from the being a prominent young chess player, I became one of the top chess players in the world.